Coming up.
One of the properties that I had listed last year, I could barely get in. It was tenanted. I mean, she had damaged the place, and she would leave her dog in there. But the dog would and in the home.
Welcome to the Subject Free Podcast. The unfiltered real estate podcast where 4 agents share real life stories from their careers in the crazy world of real estate. Now welcome Alan, Viv, Matt, and Adam.
Welcome back, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us at the Subject Free Podcast. And yay! Before we really get into it, I've got to actually address 2 things. One, we've got this beautiful beverage in front of us, and maybe Alan, you've been spearheading this. Can you go ahead and talk to us about what this Legacy Brew is?
Our new sponsor.
Our new sponsor. So thank you to Legacy Brew. They are our new partnership and sponsorship for our podcast, which is amazing. And I'll tell you this much. I don't really necessarily drink coffee, but ever since my injury, it's been one of those things where just no energy throughout the day, no energy. And an old friend of mine who actually used to work for me at Republic Nightclub, he's like, I started this new company. I just want to give you some bottles just so you can try. I'm like, cool, whatever. Drank it. I'm like, this is really fucking good. This is really good. I ran out, and then after I tried another one that I saw at a store, and it was horrible. So I'm like, okay, buddy, I got a proposition for you. He's like, what's that? I'm like, have you seen our podcast? He's like, I love your podcast. It's hilarious. You want to be a sponsor? He's like, fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. So, I mean, I think it's a great product altogether.
I'm tasting it for the first time now. I think it's great. Most of the cold brews you get out there taste like Tim Hortons
Totally.
off brew.
Totally.
And it's from Guatemala too, so it's his family. Long list of farmers, ethically sourced, everything is so good. And their mission is actually pretty cool. The thing I like about their mission is that they're not trying to be the brand in front of everything. What they're trying to do is join you and each individual on your journey to create your legacy and just fuel you on the way there.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, can we cheers to them? Can we cheers to this new sponsorship and to Alan for setting this up? Matt, we got it.
All right.
Very good. Very good.
It's actually not bitter either.
Yeah,
no, it's really good.
Very smooth.
I actually drink
Unlike
it with
yourself.
That's the anti-Viv coffee.
If you add a little bit of hazelnut, it's so good in there. Oh my God.
I think the other elephant in the room is this robo arm that we have to kind of address this because this is the first time I've seen this contraption. What is this?
So you guys know obviously that I almost lost my arm as per last podcast. If you haven't watched
and remember that everybody's not watching this, right? So if you can describe it.
Everybody's
describe
watching.
what you've got on your left arm here.
So I tore my bicep beginning of summer, basically. And I actually almost lost my arm. If you haven't seen it in the last episode, we kind of talked about it, but I almost lost my arm. But now I had surgery about 3 weeks ago. And basically they had to repair the tendon. They put a dead guy's tendon in my arm. Wow. And my bicep was up here, so they had to put it in and pull the bicep all the way back down.
Wow. Wait, hold on. Before we touch on that, is that, because that's not considered an organ donor.
Yeah.
So how do you sign up to donate your tendon?
Yeah, that's what I had no clue to, but they're like,
you just sign off on a full body.
Yeah, I mean,
they can't just take it. They're not just like, okay, dead guy.
Not that I know. You'll notice.
I asked if there were breasts that I could have as well. But,
go full.
They didn't have it. They're like, we have a penis. I'm like, do I need to?
No.
Yeah, probably not, right?
Very cool.
So right now, as it stands, I was in a cast for about 2.5 weeks, and I couldn't move my arm at all, and I couldn't drive to appointments.
Right.
So I Ubered everywhere.
I'm sure you did.
Right, yes.
I'm sure you did.
Yeah. But now I'm in this thing, so basically what it does, it restricts my movement. So I have 30 degrees right now. In 2 weeks, I'll have...
That's what it does.
You pull it out, you put it there. 2 weeks, I'll have... another 30 degrees.
Not do that right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Not like
all of a sudden,
the tendon the dead guy gave you.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Great.
I should be thankful, right? So
my big question is, how often do you make the sound?
The robot sound? Actually, not as often as I'd like because I keep making these weird other sounds because I'm like, I'm a robot. I'm like, that's not the sound.
You get right into it.
Yeah.
I want to talk about how Alan got injured, and I'm going to make this very short and sweet. But Alan used to play baseball pretty competitively, right?
Yep.
And so we had a softball tournament through the real estate board, and Alan I've learned now this about Alan in every aspect of his life. There's not like 90% Alan or 80% Alan. There's 100% Alan. So we went out and we played. We practiced first, and I think the first play you injured your arm.
Yeah.
First play, as in, again, this is a practice. And then we went into the tournament and his arms.
Before that, though, so did this catch and I overextended my arm. I felt the pop. And right away, I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
I think I injured myself.
Yeah.
So I wrapped it and I froze it because I used to do that when I was playing ball back in the day. You just freeze your injuries and keep playing through the game. And I'm like, I'll freeze it. Whatever. Froze it. Bad idea.
Yeah. And so a week later we have the tournament, and his arm's a grapefruit, and we're like, it's just a softball tournament with the board. We're not in the World Series. Organized by real. We're not in the World Series here. And so he's like, no, I'm gonna do it. I'm fine. Wraps it, has all the meds, everything going for him.
I'm taking T3s every 3 hours, 2-3 hours. I'm like,
more than you took before every day?
Yeah.
Usually I'm like 4 hours.
Yeah. He ramped it up, and then cut to, I think, probably the first play of the next game. You were pretty much done at that point.
Yeah, I swung the bat and I felt another pop. I'm like, this isn't good, and I froze it again and kept playing. I played pretty good.
Yeah. You played well for a guy with one arm and the other one hanging down to the ground. Yeah, pretty good. Yeah.
I actually played well. I got out once. I scored how many runs? Come on.
Yeah. No. It was impressive for a guy with one arm, basically.
And I tore my hamstrings at the same time. Remember that?
Oh
right?
my God.
Yeah. So showed me
showing your age here.
Yeah.
I know.
He sent me a picture in the hospital because he had to go into the hospital right after, and it was like purple legs, like purple arm. It was like, Alan, from now on we are not doing this. Like, you are not playing. He will play next year.
I will play next year.
You can be the coach.
No, this is what I'm doing. I've learned, because of my arthritis, my autoimmune arthritis, I've learned that the meds I've been taking have been bad for stuff like this. And I have to stretch out, and I have to do yoga now. So they told me do yoga, because basically the meds I take, it strengthens the muscles around the joints, but it doesn't lengthen them. So they're really like condensed. So
we'll see. Cut to a year later, and we'll see if he's got like his arm left, and if he's got his.
It's gonna be the other one.
Yeah, it's gonna be the other one. So we'll see what happens.
Which is bad for my sex life.
Yeah. Which we'll get into maybe another podcast.
Yeah,
that's a whole podcast in and of itself. But let's pivot a bit, because we want to talk a little bit about real estate. And one thing that I've actually been interested to talk to Viv about, because she's been talking to me about this, and we've had back and forth on this, commissions, and it's a hot topic around real estate because there's a lot of stuff that's going on in the States right now, and I don't know if a lot of people have read, but the commissions, the buyer's commissions specifically, are changing. Normally, if you're not aware of how it works in real estate, the sellers pay the buyer's commission, and there's a class action lawsuit going down in the US right now that's basically changing the game, where they're saying that not necessarily anymore that the sellers are going to pay, and frankly that's not illegal, but it shouldn't be the case. So without getting into the nuts and bolts of it, and now in the meantime, because the market is so difficult right now to make deals, there's way less deals that are happening. We all know what's going on in the market. Realtors are undercutting their commissions, and you lost out on 4 separate listings with past clients who had nothing but good things to say about your service, but had other agents come in and basically say, I'll do what she did, probably shittily, but I'll do what she did for half. And money talks, and that may or may not work out at the end of the day, because we all know half of your commission is not as much as probably what you can get for them for the sale of their home, but that people see the money in front of them and they take it. So tell me a little bit about that experience, and and maybe you guys can give me your thoughts on what we think of commissions, because it's a hot topic and people think that we get paid too much, but we won't get into that. But commissions are always a hot topic in real estate.
Yeah, well, the reason why I'm more bitter than this coffee is because this has been going on, and it's just like, I guess the market is so competitive now. People are struggling for deals, so there's a lot of undercutting going on, and it just feels like it's a race to the bottom at this point, right? When will it stop? Who's going to offer the next lowest percentage? And when are you going to stop looking for the full service package and, you know, a low commission? Because that really doesn't exist. Because if you cut anyone's salary, let's say it's not even real estate, if it's like a teacher, you cut their salary and you're just like, okay, but you have the same class size, you have the same workload, you need to perform the same, but you only get half of what you make. How happy are you going to be with that listing? How hard are you going to work for that person, right? Like it's just psychologically, it's just not going to be the same either. Although I try not to look at the end number ever. I don't count my coins before they're made, but it's just a different feeling knowing that, okay, well, you're definitely going to be making a ton less because, you know, a realtor's dog, sister's brother just got their license and is probably struggling a lot too, just like, you know, a lot of us, and decided to offer this very bogus commission, and now people will have to either match that or lose their listings.
So why didn't you match it? Why did you not just say, I'll take it because I'm still going to make X amount on this?
You know what? It's very tempting to. And for some, I got to be honest, for some I do, because they're either very long-standing clients, they're friends at this point. Like I'm happily doing it for them. But for others, it's just like, well, you know what? It's just not worth it. And you have to drive all the way to, let's say, Langley from Vancouver. And it's, you know, every showing I will need to be there.
Langley.
Yes, Langley.
Yeah, renew your passport.
But for some, it's just, you know, you'll just be bitter on the drive. You know, it's not going to sell very easily. It's going to be, you know.
It's human nature. I think at the back of your mind, you're going to be bitter is maybe a strong word, maybe not, but you're going to be bitter by taking that. You're going to be mad at yourself. Like, and I've done it. I've undercutted my commissions. I mean, 50% is a heck of a lot. And I don't think I know I haven't done that much, but I have undercut my commissions. And I know when I go and do I push that extra little bit for the client and take that extra little bit of time and effort to get them the best price or negotiate down. You know, it's human nature. You feel slighted a bit by when you do that. Have you guys been in a position of, like, you know, getting grinded on your commission?
So whenever somebody asks me to cut a commission, I'm like, listen, I can cut my commission, but what I'm going to do is actually stage your home and do this, and that's what you get for my price.
Right.
So I'll actually come in there, clean the whole thing, like top to bottom, just clean the shit out of it. And then after, what I'll do is if anything else needs repaired, I have my contractor going to come in, do this all up. We'll make it look like a show home. That's my goal, right? So you can use somebody else at a cut commission and get a worse result, but I'm going to make your home look show-worthy, magazine-worthy, to the point where you actually will make more.
Right.
Do you pay for all that then?
Do you pay for that?
For the staging, I include it. I include it, but I need some sort of commitment.
Yeah.
So if it's a tougher market, I say it has to be, 3 to 6 month commitment.
Okay.
Or else I'm not doing it, right?
Do you make them commit on price too?
On price, I mean, I'm negotiable on price, but I always, whenever there's a price higher than what I actually think it should be listed at, and it would be detrimental, I'm like, okay, let's try it. Let's try it for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Let's see how the traffic is.
Yeah.
And I learned from another realtor, he's like, you should do this. If they question you on price, just have 2 listing agreements right away. And be like, okay, this is the price for 2 weeks, and then have the other one signed for dated 2 weeks after.
Right.
So if it doesn't sell
Yeah.
and gets bad traffic, you switch right to the next one.
Yeah.
It's already signed.
Yeah, you get the commitment right away.
Exactly, because it's one of those things where the longer it sits, obviously, it's more detrimental to the property. And adding days on market like that, it's just bad because everyone's already like, hey, I can lowball, I can go in there and do whatever. They're just hungry for this to get sold, right? But at the end of the day, it's like, if you do it properly, if you price it correctly, you will get the highest price you can.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. What about you, Matt?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you've been in real estate for 5 minutes, you've been grinded on price once or twice. I mean, I think it's going to get worse before it gets better.
Yeah.
I mean, you put yourself in the shoes of the bottle service girl that just got a real estate license, and she's going out in the world.
Don't make fun of Al.
Whoa.
And she's walking into the brick wall, and her idea, her innovation, is to charge half the price.
Yeah.
Because she's hungry,
Yeah.
and she needs to make money,
Yeah.
and she hasn't been in the business long enough to build up long-standing clients and a reputation and spend all that money. She just wants to get from A to B as quickly as possible, and that's the route.
Yeah.
And that's hard to beat.
Yeah.
You know,
It is.
It is.
But I think also too, you step into the cases. What do you have to show, right?
Yeah.
What is your expertise? How can you market the home? And
Yeah.
that's where it's social media.
Yeah.
And this is why I'm a huge thing
Stop
on social
pointing
media
at me
because
when he says it's social
He's trying to
media.
convince you.
Social
This wouldn't
media.
have happened
this one,
to you.
this one's long
Vivian.
gone. His
I'm the
Instagram
oddball.
needs to be revived. But I mean, I think showing the social media, the reach. I always do statistics whenever I have a listing. Every 2 weeks, I have my stats on how much reach or impressions that property's gotten. And they love that. They're like, oh, wow, 15,000 people have seen it just from here. And then I have 20,000 from here and this. And they're like, oh, wow, that's amazing. So then after you can prove at that point, you're like, listen, we've already had 80,000 people see it and no one's put an offer. Obviously, we're overpriced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it all leads back to one another. So, I mean, it's a great stat to have. It's a great thing to show, hey, this is what else I can give you. This is what else I can offer. Just besides staging, I have all this reach, this.
Yeah.
And I think that adds value. But even in a market like today, I'm telling all my clients not to list.
Same.
Yeah.
So you guys are the problem. There's no inventory out there because you're telling your clients not to list.
Well, I mean, if
Let's
they
get
don't,
them on the
not
market.
in
if they don't
Not
need
in
to
their
list,
best interest.
yeah,
It's not
exactly.
in my best interest. It's my buyer's best
100%, but it's not going to be good for them. You're going to grind them down because you're a good agent. I'm not worried about the shitty agents.
Yeah.
I'm worried about the good agents. But at the end of the day, it's not the best market for them to sell.
Yeah.
So I'm looking out for their dollar at the end of the day, right? I'm not hungry to sell it because I know most of my market is downtown, and 2 beds downtown have been slow all year, right? Nothing. There's nothing going on there. So,
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at everything I've done this year, it's all been buyers. I haven't had one listing this year because I've told everybody to hold off. The one that I could have had, she went with somebody else, and it was my buyer who ended up buying. And
No kidding.
And we ended up grinding.
Yeah, as you do. I mean, let's talk about incentive.
I kind of pummeled her on price.
You're like, this is what happened. I told you.
I think you've got the perfect storm where you have a flat at best or declining market, and you've got more and more people going into the industry.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
And what are they going to do?
Yeah, and this is the time I think that you have to really refine and show your value, and because when the market's hot and people need an agent and there's a billion and everybody's kind of being fed, it's you just use your agent that you know. But when when people are starting to do that undercutting thing because they just need money coming in the door to pay their frickin' fees in real estate, it's a whole different ball game, and it goes back to what you were saying, I think, which is like, okay, what are all the things that I do to get you the best price in a shitty market? Because on the flip side, it's a shitty market. You need somebody that's going to show all the things you do, getting eyeballs on this property, making sure that it looks the best it possibly can look. An agent, if they're just looking at, okay, well, I'm going to pay $20,000 over here or $10,000 over here, which, let's face it, in Vancouver real estate, $10,000 is nothing. It's a rounding error. So at that point, it's like, really what Alan's talking about is framing what you do and all the value that you provide. And I think, and I can speak for myself, I can do better at doing that because I know what I do. I know what happens when I list a property. I know all the things that I can bring to the table. But you kind of, when people, especially past clients, because you've probably been successful with those past clients, it's just, well, they know what I do. They've seen it. You just assume that they remember all the great things. I've been humbled so many times by people that I thought, oh man, like I did such a good job for them, and then I see their place listed, and I'm like, what the?
See, this is why
they didn't even give you the chance to say 50% or nothing.
No.
See, this is why you learn secrets about your clients.
Okay, how about how about no?
Blackmail. That's a different strategy altogether.
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't know, one of those things for a lot of my clients. I mean, when it's slow like this, I'm the busiest. Like, I was about to be out the door today, then I had 2 clients call. They're like, we want offers written. I'm like, shit. That's why I was running a bit late. I was planning on getting here earlier. But, I mean, I wrote 2 offers quickly, submitted them.
Right.
But a lot of my clients are investors now.
Yeah.
So they're always looking for the bad markets
Yeah.
to capitalize on.
Yeah.
For sure.
And I mean, again, I'm okay with the shitty markets because, I mean, I don't want to list a home anyways in a shitty market. Because then it's a lot of like, oh, it's because of this, it's because of that. And you give the stats as much as you can, but at the end of the day, you're not getting the job done if it's going to sit there, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and then you kind of feel shitty about it, like,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But when you have the buyers for that, it's like you just attack.
Yeah. So your clients sound like they're investors, which are usually pretty smart and savvy.
Yeah.
But buyers right now on a whole, I think it's tough, right? Because, and I'll speak to an example I have right now. I have a property that my buyer is looking at, and it's listed probably $300,000-$400,000 over the list price. The problem, or the $3,000-$4,000 over market price. The problem is the people bought it, the sellers bought it.
Oh, they bought high.
They bought high. They bought it at this level, right?
Yeah.
So my guy wants to sell his place, but he's a little bit underwater as well too, and he doesn't want to lose. So our challenge is, okay, well, we're not going to sell your place to get this place, but we have to convince the sellers that they're actually should be taking a loss of $300,000 to $400,000.
But not you.
Well,
but not your client.
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
But we do. Like that's where working with another agent and being like, hey, here's what you can take. Like I always send a letter to the listing agent explaining why our offer, especially if I know that I don't think it's going to be received well, is, hey, here's the reality of the situation. And I can't tell my seller, like to your point, I'm telling him not to list because I'm like, you're underwater right now. You're $200,000 underwater.
Yeah.
But this property that you're buying is $400,000 underwater. So it's a win if you don't have to sell and just buy this. But it's convincing that seller that, hey, you want to sell? Great. But this is the price that we're going to buy it at.
I think we call that testing the market.
Yeah. True.
Yeah.
They don't.
Trial and error.
They don't need to sell.
Yeah.
I'm betting.
Yeah.
Right. They're putting that out. If they can get that price and get out of the situation they're in,
Yeah.
they'll take it.
But it's weird that they're doing that now, though.
Yeah.
I
It's
think-
like, would that still be testing the market and saying, you wouldn't test the market when the market's bad, and clearly the market's not in the seller's
But I think
It depends on how much pressure they're under.
And
Exactly.
It depends right now too. I mean, there's nothing on the market, right? There's
Yeah.
no good inventory on the
Yeah.
market.
So that's the
So-
flip side is maybe somebody will get desperate and want to buy our
Exactly.
place.
And it's only going to get worse too, right? At the moment
you
that
guys are listing agents, it sure is, because you're not putting any of your clients' prices on the market. we need more idiots to
Like,
put places on the
I think
market.
at the end of the day, it's all like
Plenty.
supply and demand, right, guys? And it's like we've let in way too many people in this country in the last 12 months. I think it's like 1.5 million now, right? I mean, a lot of them were here already, but they're now PR status now can buy. And a lot of these people won't buy, obviously, but they still need to rent. And so 1.5 million, we get about 30% of that in BC.
Yeah, easily.
So that's what, 500,000?
Yeah.
So 500,000 new residents in BC. And last year we made, what, 43,000 new homes?
Yeah, so it's just doesn't, the math doesn't
Right?
add up.
It just, for a long time, we are going to be absolutely fucked here.
And another issue that we have on that note is short-term rental properties. And that is also something that's really kind of changed the game in real estate because, and as much as the city has cracked down on it, I think if you read the news recently, honestly, it hasn't done enough, and there's still so many illegal short-term rental properties that are out there right now. And I know New York right now, they're dealing with this issue.
They banned it.
They banned it.
They banned it altogether. So 30 days is the minimum in the entire state.
Right. So the entire state of New York now basically doesn't have short-term rental properties. So my question for you guys is, what do you think is going to happen with short-term rental properties? And crystal ball, do you think if they did something like New York, do you think that will change inventory in Vancouver, Lower Mainland enough to impact the market?
Not enough to make a dent.
No.
And here,
'Cause-
go ahead. No, go ahead.
Well, the ones that do allow it currently, let's say Stratas alone, there's not that many that do allow it to begin with.
Yeah.
So,
There's so
kinda
few and
dent-
far between.
yeah,
right?
what kind of dent would it
Have you
make?
been on Airbnb lately?
Yeah.
Talk about low inventory.
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
And that's the thing, though. It's like you look at what Vancouver has with so many restrictions. The only hot 2-bedroom market was the Airbnb-able buildings.
Yeah.
Right.
Those were the only ones going. And
Yeah.
they were going in multiple offers, like way over asking.
Yeah.
And I was in the middle of a lot of those things, too. And I'm like, holy shit. Like,
Yeah.
But you know what's going to
crazy.
happen, either federally or provincially. they're gonna ban it. And they're going to beat their chests about how they've just solved the housing crisis by banning Airbnb.
Of course.
Yeah.
They do that all.
Yeah.
They do
not
that all
even
the
gonna
time.
go-
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. And it's
Yeah.
like, just wait till the election.
Just
year.
like with the foreign
Yeah.
buyers
Yeah.
tax, right?
Yeah.
Well, we
Election.
solved it.
Everything is a little
great.
band-aid.
Same idea.
Yeah. It's to get votes, right?
Yeah.
When it's an election year, they're going to bring something up that is totally irrelevant.
Yeah.
Do they even consult anyone?
No.
That
no,
is
no,
on
no.
the ground who
They-
actually knows
They
this kind of
consult the people who don't own homes.
Yeah, of course.
Why do you think there's no homes out there, or why can't you afford it? It's because all those damn foreigners.
Yeah.
It's all those damn Airbnbs.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. No, but at the end of the day, I mean, I think Airbnbs and short-term rentals are a great thing because obviously, the rents don't make up, your full mortgage payment, right? So what are you going to do to do that, right? You can't keep buying these and just keep, dumping money in every month, right? On the flip side, I mean, when you have a traditional rental, you are like seriously a slave to your tenant after that.
Yes.
The tenant has all the power.
Our laws are far too skewed.
Yeah, yeah,
To the tenant.
yeah. And I've seen so many times where either it's family or it's clients of mine or friends of mine where their tenants are the worst.
They don't pay for 6 months. There's nothing you can do.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a whole other episode, selling,
my God.
selling rented tenanted places.
Horrible. I mean, one of the properties that I had listed last year, I could barely get in. It was tenanted. I mean, she had damaged the place, and she would leave her dog in there. And it was a ground level apartment, but the dog would piss and shit in the home, and she would put pads there, and I'd be like, "Aren't you walking the dog?" And then whenever I'd have a showing, she wouldn't respond. But then days later, she'd be like, "Okay, but you need to walk my dog." Just so I can show the place. So I'd have to walk the dog, and I felt bad for the dog. The dog was so sweet.
Yeah, you
I've
probably
come to a rule actually on tenants. I don't speak to them other than hello, thank you, and goodbye.
So you just
And I say that up front to clients.
Yeah.
They're your tenant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's your relationship.
Yeah.
Not mine.
Yeah.
And not to mention too, you can get your license pulled.
Yeah.
Right? You can get your license pulled if you're seen to be giving advice to the tenant because that's outside of your license.
Yeah.
That's property management advice.
Yeah.
And so if they've got a problem, which most of the time they do, and they run to the
Especially with the landlord.
and they run to the council,
Yeah. Yeah.
you could find yourself in trouble.
Yeah.
So I just limit the contact and just say, hey, thank you very much for allowing the showing, and that's about it.
So, but do you talk to the landlord about the tenants? Like,
Yep.
do you give them advice about what to do with tenants, or you
yeah.
just okay? So you're just it's only
But
landlord.
I say clear to them, I can't talk to them.
yeah. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Yeah.
You know, I just put it on the rules and I just say I can't talk to them. That's your relationship. They're your tenant. I can't get in the middle of that.
Right.
I can give you some tips on what to do with them. You know, kill them with kindness, give them gift cards, whatever you need to do to get the place available to show.
Yeah.
But I'm not dealing with them.
Yeah, at the end of the day, they're not. You're not the client. They're not the client.
Nope.
So that's you can't really talk to them or give them advice.
And I had to laugh when I took, for relicensing, and I took the selling tenanted properties course. So they spent the first half of the course talking about how you can lose your license for talking to the tenants, and then they spent the next half of the course talking about, if you just call them up and you give them gift cards and do this and do that.
Right.
What?
So bribing them.
Right.
Let's bribe them.
But
That
but let's
works.
not talk to
But
them.
the whole course was saying not to talk to them.
the first half, and then the second half was about, but how do you actually
Here's
deal
it.
with them
Here's
and
how you
talk to them
manage.
lots?
Yeah. So, Viv, you have an Airbnb property. I mean, would you change it to like a corporate rental, or would you change it to a long-term rental if they change the rules, or would you sell it?
No, I would do 30 days.
You do 30 days.
30 days.
Okay.
And, this goes back to what did you buy it for? Is it actually an investment that you're doing Airbnb out of, which is not allowed because it's supposed to be a principal residence? But it also doesn't help people that are actually doing it because they're 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off for their jobs, right? A lot of people in the mining industry are actually doing that.
Tech
So-
industry right now too is huge.
Yeah, tech industry, like doctors and stuff, like any kind of profession has that. So it's not actually, it's affecting them more than it is the investors.
Yeah.
Same questions. Would you?
Yeah, I mean, I do a 30-day rental because you even look at traditional rentals right now, and they're through the roof, right? 30-day rentals have always been above traditional rentals. Now you
Yes.
can get even more, and then you take those the short-term rentals away. I mean, people are just going to be hand over fist trying to get these, so prices are going to go up even more. So
I just wouldn't want to deal with tenants.
that's the thing, though. That's the big thing is that.
Yeah.
you have an end date,
Yeah.
right? It doesn't go month to month after. With these 30-day rentals, you have an end date, you have a different lease, and that's what's signed. If they want to renew, it's a new fixed term.
And you can't even sell properly
Yeah.
with them either.
Yeah.
Like half the population, investors, probably don't want to take on your tenant.
Yeah.
That
No,
is
never.
in there. And you cannot kick out the tenant and substitute them with new tenants.
Especially with how rapidly rents have been going
Yeah,
up, right?
for sure.
If it's been on the market for 2 months, rent has gone up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's gone from what, 25 to 26 to 27, now over 3,000 for a one-bedroom.
One
Yeah.
bedroom.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Not in Langley.
No, not far off.
Not far, yeah.
But you guys both deal with Airbnb properties. I used to, but you guys both do still now. You do have tenants. It's more work. It's more intensive.
100%. And what do you mean tenants? What kind of tenants? Like guests?
Short term. Yeah, guests.
Yeah, not tenants.
Sorry, yeah, they're not tenants. They're guests. Yes.
Well, you have a team, right? So you have a cleaning team, right? You have a contractor who's always going to be available in case something happens. But I think the biggest thing with especially Airbnb and VRBO is that, the credit card's on file. If there's damage, you get charged. They have your information to do that. I can't get my tenant's credit card if I
the
need
damage deposit of like a measly
which doesn't,
$1,400?
after they do $10,000 damage, like, come on, you're not going to get them.
Yeah.
You're never going to see that money, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think there's more liability that way when you have it as a short-term rental on these sites who actually can facilitate you getting money back for something, right?
So in Vancouver, and I'll go around the horn here, what do we think is the long-term potentials of short-term? Is it going to keep on doing the way it is? You think they're going to become more strict? You think that they'll just kind of lay over and go, whatever, we're just going to let it go? And on top of that, strata buildings, because I think, and to one of your points is, the rental that you can get on a property, and we have some inventory coming on, is so much better than you can get as a long term. Do you think that stratas will become more, and I've already started seeing it more and more amicable to short term rental properties? Where do you think this is going to go in the next 10 years?
I think the ban is imminent.
You think they're going to ban short term rental?
It's low hanging fruit.
Interesting.
Like I said, they can ban it and beat their chest about how they've just solved a big part of the housing crisis. And then what you're going to see, if they do the same thing as New York and say, well, it has to be a 30-day minimum, I think you're going to see a lot of 30-day leases signed with 27-day rebates.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. You think that would be a strategy? Yeah.
It's a loophole.
Yeah.
I mean
there's ways around everything.
Yeah.
But I think, I know that from what I've been told, the mayor, our new mayor in Vancouver.
that's why I voted for him, actually.
Exactly. That's why I voted for him too.
But he isn't going to do anything.
Well, here's the thing though, it's the housing minister now, right? So
It's
the
coming
guy.
from the top.
Yeah,
when it comes
federally.
it's
Yeah.
maybe not federally, but definitely provincially.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, they're trying. They're trying to do what they can to make more housing available. But there are groups. I don't know if you know about this group that's banding together who all do short-term rentals, and they're all investing like $100 or something a month. So then if something happens where they ban it, there's going to be like 300 people who have all invested this money into this group to try to fight it. So, I mean, there's different things that people are doing to try to.
Don't
Good
know
luck.
about that. I've never
I will
heard
tell
about
you
that.
after. Yeah.
Interesting.
So I'll get you.
I feel
in
like
the group.
$100 is not enough. By the way.
No, but
to
when
fight
you
this.
when you have every single person doing it, there's so many people, like everybody in the Espana.
So this is like a union kind of thing.
Okay.
basically doing it except for Adam because
Yeah, this is the first I've heard of it, and I am in the Spanish. So
He's not been knocked on yet.
because you missed the thing that I told you to come to.
Oh, the barbecue.
Yeah.
Well, that's another thing that we'll talk about. But that was a barbecue, they did not advertise that as
no. The which barbecue?
It was a bar.
The rooftop one.
The rooftop.
Oh yeah,
one.
the rooftop one.
Yeah,
Yeah. So there was. They were talking about that. So there's a barbecue to talk about that.
Okay.
And now there's this group that's banding together. So if something gets pulled away from them, they're going to have all these people fighting instead of one person. Because one person, you're not going to do anything.
So it's a class action.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah,
Yeah.
an unofficial class action.
Good luck
Very
with that.
interesting.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know if this is going to go anywhere.
I mean, it may not, but I mean,
I think the law is pretty cut and dry on it. It's use. It's use of a proproperty.
but
which
they
is
don't
provincial-
define use. If you go on the website, on the city's website, they actually don't define.
provincially though. They can provincially they can impose that on the municipalities, right? They can say you've got to change your bylaws.
Yeah, that's true.
yeah.
so what do you think? 10-year crystal ball.
You know what? The city's been hiring more people to navigate and check out illegal listings and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot more audits.
Yeah.
I've seen that.
I've seen that too.
I mean, I still have pretty good track record with my clients. I've reported back. There's only been one, and that's because he switched the person staying there without consulting me. But everybody else who I know, who I've like actually gave them the details, I gave them the roadmap of how to do it. They've always been audited and have come out fine. So, I mean, yes, there's audits. Yes, there's people losing their licenses. But if you do it properly, you can do it successfully. And one of my best clients and my favorite clients, in the last 2 years, he's gotten like 6 or 7 of them now. And we just bought the penthouse at another one, right? And he's thinking about quitting his job as a lawyer because he makes so much money doing this.
Well, if Matt's right, keep your day job because that could change overnight.
Well, I know who you're talking about. He's handsome enough to get by on his own without his Airbnbs.
You know.
Yeah. So I mean, well, it is interesting. I mean, nobody obviously has a crystal ball, but I think if they want to do something about it, they can definitely do something about it. I don't know if right now
I think it's a matter of time. Though.
Well, and that will be interesting, right? Because I mean, then we have to pivot into either corporate rentals, which is a whole other ball game, or doing loopholes. Because what I've noticed, and I've looked at it too for my clients, is that there are parts of it that are very gray. That's very vague. What does use mean? How much do you have to spend, time in there? And there's people that do legitimately use it because they're out of towners and they're there 3, 4, 5, 6 months out of the year, and that's why they've bought in Vancouver. But I do agree that I don't think that it's going to make that much of a dent in the housing, and it will be for political optics, and that will be it. And just 100%. Like the foreign buyers ban, it's
none of the rules so far.
You know what? The foreign buyers ban is that was stupid.
Yes,
it was
agreed.
stupid.
But here's the thing, it's going to make it worse. Once that ban is lifted, there is such a demand now. There's so many foreigners who want to buy in Canada.
Yeah.
You know what they really should have said to the foreigners? That, you know what, as a foreigner, you cannot buy anything under $5 million. But anything up, fair game because we get taxed still, and Canadians generally don't have the budget normally to buy above 5. Anyways, and now we don't get taxed and the tax money, and Canadians are still not buying those properties. The issue was never with those high budgeted homes.
And what was it, like
It's
3% in BC? That's what foreign buyers.
I think it was 3 or 4%.
It was something like so low that it was like, really? And everyone bought into it. And I remember just posting stuff online about the foreign, buyers ban, and everyone was like, "Thank God, it was like
so wrong."
That's how we do it now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean, I tell them, I'm like, okay, so when the international borders were closed and the market went like this,
How do you
was that foreign buyers again? Because they couldn't get into the country.
Yeah.
So,
how do you?
How do you?
It makes for a sexy headline, right?
Oh,
I mean,
for sure.
everybody read that when the house in, I think it was Marpole or South Granville, and it was like worth, $8 million, and it had like 15 students living in it, and and it was registered to a student that had zero income, and yes, does it happen? Yes. Is there like money laundering that went on? Absolutely, but that is not the same thing as the foreign buyers.
It's a completely different thing.
Completely different, but it's all wrapped up into foreigners coming into our city.
I know more Canadians who do, money laundering than.
Of course you would.
So it's like, the issue is that, if you face the actual issue, it's that we don't have enough homes for people.
Yeah.
That's, at the end of the day, that's what it is.
But the elephant in the room that all the governments are dancing around and they don't want to talk about and they don't want to face, and they're trying to find little Band-Aid approaches around it, is that there is no way to make housing affordable without wiping out a shit ton of equity from existing homeowners who are voters.
Yeah. It's gotten away from them so much that you're right. I mean, there's how many people own houses? Of course, a ton, and those are voters. And if you say, okay, and they've got mortgages now, right? I mean, they've been stretched to the absolute gills, a lot of people. And you're saying, okay, well, you've put 20% down, and to fix this problem, we're going to have to wipe out 15% of your home's worth. Everybody's going to say, No, I'm not
Yeah.
going to, I don't want that, right? So that's it. It's a problem that's gotten completely out of the way. And so they do these little fixes. Oh, let's do this. Let's do a tax here. Let's do a foreign buyers ban here.
And then let's let 1.5 million people into the country.
And let's,
Put more pressure on it.
Yeah, like what? I don't know. They just. I know they're like, oh, we need to fill these jobs, but really, it's like, you wanted money.
Yeah.
You wanted money at the end of the day.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. I think the short-term rental ban that it probably. I mean, we'll see, Matt. I mean, you could be very right, and all they need is one pen stroke and saying, these are now 30 days, and that's what it is, and the pressure's there. Again, it will be a hooray, and then nothing will really change because there's so many other bigger elements at play.
And then they'll let 2 million people into the country.
Yeah, I mean, it's it comes down to that.
If you really boil it down to really the beginning of it all, it's my property, my ability to use it however I want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why are you telling me that I have to have a renter in there, or that I cannot do Airbnb, that I have to have it blah blah blah, or else I'm going to get taxed this vacancy tax? Housing really is your issue.
Yeah.
If you want to run a puppy mill, you go and run a puppy mill out of your house.
Exactly.
And the government can fuck right off.
No, I mean, my body, my choice, my land, my choice, right? I mean,
I spent the money to buy this home.
Yeah.
The government didn't help me with this.
Yeah.
So why are you telling me what I can do with this home
Exactly.
if you didn't help me with it?
Go ahead.
I was going to say, it's just like your car, right?
Yeah.
Right? It's a big investment. You have your vehicle. You don't have to drive it all the time, right?
What if I leave it in the garage for 6 months?
Exactly.
And I
You're going to tax me too?
Yeah.
like if there's solutions.
No, you have to lend it to somebody.
Yeah.
Some stranger.
I mean, I think we're all. I don't know. I'll speak for myself, but I think we're all for if there's a solution that is well conceived, thought out. We get some sort of say in how it is because we do as realtors and real estate professionals. We see a lot. We have a lot to impact, a lot of information that we can embark on government or on municipal governments or whatever. If we feel like we come to a solution together and we're in and a part of the solution, I think we're happy to have some sort of government intervention. I think the problem is that it just always seems to come down to a ban or a tax, and it's like you can't
And interest rates.
or and that's one of the
Every problem looks like a nail when all you have is a hammer.
Right, exactly. So that's where I think that we have a real issue with government intervention is not because we don't want affordable housing. I think we're all we all still are. We live in this city. We buy in this city. We want homes in this city. I'd like to have a nicer place. It's very difficult to get a detached, nice home as hard as we work. We're all for that for every single person. I think what it comes down to is the solutions seem to be very myopic in how they do things, and it's not consulted by professionals.
No.
The root is never addressed.
No, it's never addressed. And let's face it, the Bank of Canada, with interest rates and how long that they left them for so long, so low, really did impact what we're seeing right now. And I understand the quantitative easing and the fiscal measures that they had to take due to the pandemic and other measures. But they're right. But that's way more bigger than short-term rental properties.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just so many macro issues at play that this always seems like little nitpicking around the sides of what the actual is. But it's easy.
An easy topic for them to pick up.
Easy topic to pick up.
Get ready for nouveau trailer parks.
Yeah. I mean, that maybe.
I mean, look, okay, what's happening in Kelowna right now, right? What's going to happen? A lot of that city was short-term rentals.
Yeah.
There was zoning for short-term rentals. Now half that city is going to be gone, right? Yep. So what's going to happen there? People can't afford new homes or to build new homes, especially if they had like a lack of insurance. So that's what they're going to have.
Well, it's not just the people that lost their homes, and that's bad enough. Yeah. But it's the other people that live up there that go, fuck this.
Yeah. That's really the issue.
I'm tired of this.
Yeah.
Right? I'm going to move to the coast.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to deal with this every summer.
Yeah. I can't live with this. And short-term rental properties, which are big in Kelowna, and I know a lot of developers have had pre-sale projects out there that are really geared towards short-term rentals. People have got to be thinking, because it's not like a Whistler, right? It's not even like a Vancouver where, it's seasonality doesn't really matter. Whistler, it's great in the winter, it's great in the summer, fall's okay, but like over the spring's great. Like that's Whistler. But Kelowna is you make your money from April until September, and the rest of the year is pretty slow.
Yeah.
So if you lose July and August because the fires are up there, you're losing a huge amount of your income, and and your resale also is affected. So Matt,
and God damn it, bougie white girls need to go on wine tours and wear big hats.
Yeah. I mean, that's
true.
At the end of the
Where
day,
are we going here?
Isn't that what we're all fighting for? Isn't that what I think we should end on that note, because I like that note. So everybody, thanks so much for tuning in and watching.
Is that it already?
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah,
Wow.
that's it.
Great ending.
Wow. Great ending.
Thank you again to Legacy.
Yeah, thank you, Legacy.
Legacy, amazing. I'm going to do an OnlyFans with it, so just watch for it.
With or without the robo-arm?
Oh, you'll see.
Oh, all right.
You'll have to subscribe.
Subscribe for that. Awesome.
All right. Woo!
Thanks for listening to the Subject Free Podcast. Make sure you subscribe, follow, rate, and review. Until next episode, we hope you're going in subject free.